right, mic check, mic check. All right, mic check success. How we doing this evening? We got green light. Green light means we're low on controversy this evening. Get a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Awesome. Okay. Tonight we are covering something that has been lagging behind. So for anybody that's new out there, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Welcome to Culture Invasion. We'll get started with official welcomes and introductions here in just a moment. But for the evening, I like to welcome everybody to the show, let them know what to expect and what's on the agenda. So I have been slacking and I've just been wandering around doing whatever I want to do, having fun on YouTube, but I need to stay on task, right? Back in June, YouTube decided that content that I had put on my channel was unacceptable and I was jailed. I was not happy about that. So what I did was I went on a revenge tour and I started my C.I.P series. The first piece was coddle, and I talked about the way that we coddle society. The second piece was ignorance. Talked about ignorance and the ignorance of people in society. And then we're going to talk about privilege to put a cap on the C.I.P series, and that's going to close out. That's going to close it out. I'm going to let it wash over me. I'm going to let the trauma of being in YouTube prison just wash over me. We're going to let it all go. And then we're going to start 2025 fresh, right? Right. All good vibes for 2025. So tonight, we are going to do a prelude to the privilege episode. I'm going to take you down the path of a little bit of philosophy here. I'm going to go into a little bit of the mind and what, you know, and the way we think about our actions, the things that we take from the privileges that we have here in the Western world. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So it's going to be a little more philosophical. We're going to have a little bit of giggles here and there, and I'm going to love it with you guys in the chat tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Especially, we're going to do this real quick. FDNHT squad, y'all. Thank you so much for being here with me this evening. Thanks for coming over with the cool stream run. Y'all running it. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the introduction. My intro for this show, because it's part of the C.I.P series, is going to be a 3-minute introduction. Enjoy it. Get your vibe on. I will see you on the other side of the introduction, everybody. Let's go.
Okay.
The girl them skill on
We all know that social media is watching our every move. The algorithm is tracing everything that we do and feeding us what it wants. Well, they got me.
I can break these cuffs.
You can't break those cuffs. We appreciate your cooperation now.
And on the other side, many don't get to see what YouTube jail looks like, but these are the accommodations. And, I wasn't going out like that. I had to appeal, so I filed it.
With such out.
Give us free.
Man, anybody who's been in YouTube jail knows they ain't listening. So the best thing for anybody to do that gets caught up is to get acclimated. And that's what I did. But on the outside, y'all held me down. You know what I'm saying? My supporters, my subscribers, y'all were there for me. Like Lando Bando was writing letters and Miss Queen Sunkiss was out there writing letters. Y'all had a whole campaign going. Bronze Bird was helping me out. Twins, shout out. But it just wasn't enough. When I got out, the walls were closing in on me. I was getting these headaches and I had turned Asian. So I had to clean up my act. I had to hit up an old friend, Helen Mirren, and she got me back on my game. Taught me to stretch it out, get my workout right. I turned around and got me a Pilates instructor because I liked her Pilates.
Yeah, boy.
But it wasn't enough. The world had lost all meaning and color. And slowly, I felt the anger stirring like a storm. YouTube done fucked up now. See, I was gonna go out peaceful this year. Phronesis, a Greek word that refers to a practical wisdom or the ability to make good judgment and what is about to happen in a situation, what to do given situation. The combination of good judgment, character, habits, and is often described as a type of intelligence applied to everyday life. Three examples of what make phronesis up are practical wisdom, the ability to judge is at stake in a given situation, finding the right answer for the common good, for self or others in any specific context, or the breakthrough thinking point of all of that, the culmination, the creativity, and the discernment that we gain from a given situation. So taking from a personal example, I'll use behavior overseas in a public environment. What is at stake when you are in an environment, in a country foreign to your own, and you are only a visitor? What is at stake for your own safety? What is at stake for your own security? What is at stake in your everyday interaction? Finding the right answer for the common good. Do I de-escalate this situation that I'm in the midst of? Do I use communication skills to get my point across and get what I need done efficiently, regardless of the situation? Do I pop fly and unload for the inadequacies and flaws obvious in the operation of the individuals whom I'm trying to conduct business? Do I pop fly? Do I de-escalate? No, I reach a breakthrough moment and I make a better decision than to sacrifice myself to a militarized police force. I'm a man of no record or incident, alive, healthy, and well. My breakthrough was to de-escalate. I want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. Sakafet, Sakafet. Salutations. Salute to all my beautiful people. I see y'all out there tearing up the chat. I love it. I first of all want to shout out FDNHT squad. Y'all are in the house. Thank you so much for being here tonight. He said, don't worry, Culture. Trump will deport you soon. Zero, the infinite. What's up, bro? How you doing tonight? Azo, Killer Swag. I want to welcome you. Full drinking, half thinking. My brother from another country. How are you tonight, cousin? Glad to have you here on deck. Sierra Monique. Chrissy, a girl from Texas. What's up, Ma? Glad to see you out there. Who else we got? I don't want to miss anybody with the intros, but I do want to welcome everybody that did come over from the Full Drinking Pod tonight. I do have something tonight that is a little more philosophical, a little more introspective. I think it's something that's going to provide longevity for my channel, and that's the way I'm trying to look at things for 2025, is to, even if I'm going to have a red light night and the border around the screen that you see is going to be on red light status, it's going to be something that's going to have longevity. I'm gonna cuss, I'm gonna froth at the mouth, I'm gonna be mad at society, I'm gonna punch the clouds and yell, but I'm gonna have something that's gonna be solid, some good foundation for the future, right? Culture, knowledge, entertainment, what I bring to you. I hope to continue that in the future. Thanks, chick. I didn't call you out, sweetheart. Glad to have you here. All right. So to start off with, the beginning was a little bit heavy, but that's just the introduction to the foundation of what we're going to talk about here tonight. We're going to talk about phronesis a little bit, and we're going to refer back to it, right? Those 3 key bullet points. Taken from, I kind of used the example of my own experience overseas. I turned in some paperwork. The paperwork was incorrect. I was in the government office, and the man looked at me and he just went berserk, like I had forged this paperwork and I had done this maliciously. And I mean, like it was almost bad the way that he jumped at me, and kind of backed up and said, hey man, I got it off your website, bro. You tell me what. And believe it or not, believe it or not, everything was kind of tense there for a minute. I'm looking around the office and I'm like, is this the way the shit goes down here? And apparently it was. So, hey, I acclimated myself. I let him handle the business, tell me what it was, bro. The paperwork and everything went over smoothly. Now, why was I in YouTube jail? Somebody, Chrissy, was that you? I think it was you. Yep. Why was I in YouTube jail? All right, so I was exploring political candidates. And when I was exploring the political candidates, I explored their opinions of medicine and medical treatments, vaccination, things like that. And there was content in the video that is not, is misinformation, quote unquote. So I was accused of spreading misinformation. Nesta, sis, how are you? Glad to see you. Yeah, I was accused of spreading misinformation, so I got in trouble and they shut me down for a week, and they made me go to YouTube school on how to not spread misinformation, and it's a whole process you got to go through. So I just figured, well, you're gonna put me in jail, I'm just gonna show my ass and push it to the limit for the rest of the year. So hey, shout out to me. Okay, all right. What we're gonna talk about tonight is very nuanced, very nuanced, right? Um, it's part of the human condition. We're going to kind of examine, like 80-20 principle or the Pareto principle. And I looked into it a lot, and I have over the years, excuse me, pardon me, I'm sorry. I have looked into the 80-20 principle, abundance over the years. And what I found is, in summary, right, I see that there's a lot of personal success and application of it. There's business application of it, task management application of it, mommy planning, daddy planning, man planning, using the 80-20 principle, blah, 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 blah. What I don't see is much debate or leverage of it from a sociological perspective and talking about how we as a group, no critical analysis. I don't see that. I haven't seen it. There are some books, but as far as other discussions on a broader base, so again, it's nuanced. And I think in a way it's probably taboo because there's personal beliefs in the way that people conduct their lives, right? People might feel some kind of way, hey, you know what I'm saying? If it don't apply, let it fly, etc. But I mean, it is what it is. Y'all know. Those of you that are new will know, but y'all, and not you guys here, my subscribers, but them folks out there, when I say y'all, right? Shout out to Messy Michonne, by the way. He started that mess. Not y'all, but y'all. All right. So y'all subscribers know where you stand here. So if I trample on feelings or beliefs, feel free to comment in the chat. Feel free to leave, feel free to chat. Feel free to leave comments after the video. Give me perspective, whatever. But hey, it's my channel. So, so tonight it's going to be kind of, we're going to kind of trample on people's feelings and thoughts about things and about the way that we live our lives. And, there's always the exceptions for the human conditions, extenuating circumstances. Y'all know that. Handicap, the infirm, the elderly, things that are beyond people's control and things that we have fallen to due to circumstances of those sorts. So, economic conditions, it can be said, people like to throw around, and I don't show any credence to this. I get the stories. I get where history has drawn parallels and drawn threads to slavery and descendants, etc., 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 etc. But we have to stop. We live in the first world conversation. It's 2024, and we have unlimited programs available to us and unlimited resources and ways to facilitate living better lives. All right. So all those considerations being made, to the reacts.
Thank you, and I thank the good people of Nepal. You are one hell of a leader, because you, the keen, the cunningness, the instinct. The instinct is brilliant, and you don't even know what you did, but you're brilliant anyway, because the brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant.
That's for y'all. Thank you. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for being subscribers. Viva Nepal. Hey, sis. Hey, y'all. What's up, Almond Eyes? How you doing, sis? Almond Eyes, all the links should be working in the chat. So feel free to drop your channel link as well. Almond Eyes is another creator. Brody, I got you modded up. Curly hair, I'm getting you modded up now. Give me just a second. So feel free, as you guys are now standard moderators and you are content creators, to use the slam invasion prompt, exclamation invasion, and it will pop your channel in the chat. Y'all can also click on one another's names in the chat, and you can go to their channels and subscribe. We are all about networking over here, so by all means, please do so. All right. Okay, here we go with the philosophy and mess. First thing up we're going to talk about is what makes folks stupid. What makes people stupid, and to what degrees, and how far does that stretch? What does that apply to? Let's look at it from Mr. Green's perspective. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at, I'm going to read off a little bit here on this book that we got here. He refers to some really, 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 really cool information in that. And then we're going to do some home math. I don't think I've done this one from home math before. We're going to talk about levels tonight. And if you have never gone to the home math YouTube page, it's not ho as in baby. Not about that. It's about everybody. He just drew a picture of a girl. Hey, man, it's not my page. Hey, don't come for me, man. All right. So let's go. Okay, so we're gonna hang out with Mr. Green. And we're gonna find out why everybody's stupid. And what I'm gonna look at is as the 80%. The 80%. Like, if you haven't been here before and heard me bitch and complain and moan about politics and the participation that I see. For instance, the past election was like a 60% turnout for my area. Usually for the other elections, you'll get like a 25%, 30% turnout. That's appalling. That's appalling to me. There should be more participation across the board. Granted, the numbers are skewed, and you have to count for elderly, you have to count for babies and people that shouldn't even be counted in the numbers that are skewed. So population density. So there are other things like that, other factors, right? But when you finally break down the numbers, I just don't feel that enough are engaged. So, all right, no sex and alcohol. Wait a minute. What happened in the chat? What just dropped off here? What happened, Janesta? What is going on out here? Because there are some pervs in the chat. Y'all have to behave yourselves. It's school time tonight. Everyone sit down. Be good.
What makes people stupid, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell it like it is their certainty that they have all the answers.
And if you didn't catch that, the first thing he said there was, what makes people stupid is their certainty that they have all the answers, that you just know it all, right? Shout out to Messy Mashawn. You not gonna tell me. Boom. That vibe, that air, that aura of that energy, that self-destruction immediately. Let's go.
The stupidest people are always the ones who think they have the right answers.
Yeah. So getting back to my studies of the ancient world, which is main part of me, one thing that always excited me was this concept of the ancient Greeks, that more harm is caused in this world by stupid, incompetent people than by evil people. Right, and there's a word in Greek called phronesis.
Fair use, and we're going back to phronesis, by the way. Fair use. Robert, don't strike me. Don't come after me, Robert. Be nice, Robert. I'm trying to educate people here, Robert. This is our new friend, Robert. Everybody go subscribe to Robert so he doesn't come after me. Don't come after me, Robert. Okay, so he's going back to phronesis here. Dunning-Kruger effect. Yep, that plays a big piece of it. Yeah, Dunning-Kruger. Absolutely. You're not going to tell me. I know it all. I'm a god. I'm a god in these streets. Yeah.
Which is a form of wisdom, to use your title here. But it's a form of practical wisdom, to be able to get things done, to navigate through life, navigate through people, to be balanced and get things done. Okay? So what makes people stupid, and right now we have a lot of stupid people in this world. There always have been stupid people, but because there are more people on the planet, exponentially, there are more stupid people on the planet. What makes people stupid, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to tell it like it is their certainty that they have all the answers. This is what's going on with our government. This is what's wrong, with this or that. This is what people should be like, blah, 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 blah. So you're narrowing your focus to this little tiny little rail, something that you heard from somebody else. It's not even your own stupid idea. You've absorbed it on the internet, whatever, and you're going down on this kind of monorail path. Meanwhile, the world is all around you, and you're.
Y'all, I'm trying to learn something here. Y'all are Robert ate too many granola bars. Robert got lost on a hike and almost got ate by a bear. I'm trying to stop the laugh, bro. Fair use. Thank you, Janesta. Janesta's staying on task. Be like your friend Janesta. Be like your big sister, Janesta. Robert ate 4 Popeyes biscuits before, so his throat's dry. He can't talk. Y'all are about to make me cry over here. Oh, okay.
You're just going like zoom like that because you're so certain you have the answer. And when you have leaders, this is to get back to the Greek thing. When you have leaders who are so certain, they enter a country into a war that they haven't been thought out of, because and so the paradigm in ancient culture was the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta, the war that ended up kind of being the end of Athenian democracy and of their golden era, right? And it was the idea, and Thucydides, one of the greatest writers who ever lived, wrote the history of the Peloponnesian War, living at that time. He was saying that the leaders thought, oh, this will be so easy. And think of all the great things when we go and we take Sicily and we conquer that, the whole world will, and the Sparta will be destroyed, right? It wasn't thought through. They were so certain of the answer that they didn't think of the parameters, right? They didn't think really on a grand strategic level. So people who are certain of things are very stupid. And when they have power, they're very, very dangerous. I'm not saying evil people aren't dangerous, but incompetent, stupid people who are so certain, who haven't thought things through, are just as dangerous as evil people.
I think there's far more stupid people than there are evil people as well.
Probably.
I agree.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting to think about the where the Venn diagram intersects for people who are always cynical and people who always have the right answer or who always know.
Well, they go hand in hand.
Correct.
They totally overlap. Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there's you know what? Shout out to the cynical people out there. Where's the cynical one? Where's little sis at? Shout out to y'all. And I know there's probably a few of y'all out here in the chat now that are cynical as hell.
So, one of your fellow countrymen from 200 years ago, exactly 200 years ago, a gentleman named John Keats, a poet, came up with a concept called negative capability. And negative capability, he wanted to answer the question was, why is Shakespeare another one of your countrymen? Why was Shakespeare so brilliant? Well, his characters were so realistic because he made them as real human beings. And what he could do was, they weren't stick figures. Shakespeare could think of a person and entertain two things about them at the same time. They could be both evil, but also have a strain of goodness inside of them. They were complex. Human beings are complex. And negative capability is the essence of being creative. It means you can hold two thoughts in your head at the same time, two thoughts that apparently contradict each other, but you can entertain them and not grasp at one or the other.
Not pass judgment immediately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of able to.
You guys, like, anybody who's intelligent does that, okay? And he's speaking on thought process here. You think about all angles of a situation before you make a decision. Think about all the sides of it. But if it's a good decision or a bad decision, you're going to choose your own adventure and choose the bad path or the good path. The Jiminy Cricket, the little Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder, or the little devil dude on your shoulder. So it all depends on the path that you choose, right? And having that level of intelligence to be able to see both sides of that, or see all sides of a situation, having a discussion. These are simple.
Deal with
Simple
ambiguity.
concepts.
And you're able to say, life isn't that, it isn't that. It's kind of both at the same time. That is creativity. That is real thinking. You know? I mean, I could go on and on about my ideas about live ideas and dead ideas, but this is real live thinking.
I have been playing with an idea that's basically the same thing, just repurposed with a silly meme from me, which is a cognitive superposition. So like how in physics. Yes. And then when you decide, you collapse the superposition down.
Yeah.
But that I try to, think in superpositions as much as possible.
There's a very good book written about like that. It's not perfect. It's a pretty good book called The Possibility Principle. You can look that up.
All right.
He tries to.
Shout out to Robert. And I put Robert's link in the chat before. Link to Robert's information. So feel free to check out Robert. Want to get into a little bit about yourself, psychology, all of the angles of who we are. Now, the book that he referenced, I find this a lot more interesting to provide more body to a little bit of nerdism here and philosophy on the way that people think. So, how would you like to experience your life? It's an intriguing question, and yet we've been conditioned to believe our life visions and goals are often unattainable. With the possibility principle, psychotherapist Mel Schwartz offers a revolutionary approach to living the life we and uses his experience in science to lead us through a worldview. See ourselves as an insignificant specks of life living in the mechanical universe with insights from quantum physics. Kind of wraps all that in. Super nerd shit here. But just into your daily life, mastering yourself and freeing yourself of old thought patterns, the things that we tie ourselves to, like trauma bonds. We talk about those all the time. It's a popular phrase, the community. So, I do highly suggest, if you're interested, go seek out additional reading. I don't. It's only 232 pages. Not too bad. Right. Yeah, trauma bonds are the worst, and they come in all levels. Just like Janesta was saying earlier, intelligence comes on all levels. Trauma bonds come on all levels with our families, friends, with our loved ones, relationships, female-male bond, etc. I'm not going. I'm driving. Hey, man, be careful, please. Quincy, careful. I love to drive. Be careful out there. Right. So, how we get to the meat of the show? Really don't have too much tonight. I wanna hit this prelude. I wanna hit this way the people think, because we're gonna talk. This is where it's all gonna break down a lot more. When we look at society and the majority of society just being stupid, let's just look at it with a blanket statement. Let's go along with what our buddy just taught us, Robert. Let's go along with his theory. Along with the theory that he built, right? Allegedly, 80% of us dumb as hell. Allegedly. So, if we go with that and we look at like the everyday life, I have to break down. I had to break down what that thought process is, because I just constantly kept getting trapped in wanting to shake the adult syndrome. Don't you understand? Why don't you understand? Why aren't you listening to me? So we're going to talk with Homath. Homath is a mathematician, and he also studied sociology. Don't quote me on that. He is here to save the world by reminding it of extremely obvious things that we choose to forget because it was fashionable to forget those things. He says, I accomplished this with scribbly, rushed quality diagrams that appear childish at first glance. Upon deeper inspection, you will find that they expose the cognitive processes behind social, personal, me and you, baby, personal and interpersonal phenomena that underline the degradation of Western society. So most notably, hoe stuff, dating. So we all hoes out here in these streets. Oh, petty. My bad. Don't be sad. Don't be sad, petty. Got you. There you go. Okay. Now you can drop your links, Petty, and thank you for being. Y'all are the day ones, so I appreciate you. So whole math is pretty awesome. I've done a couple things. I might have done this one before. I don't think I did. All right. Going to levels. Nesta, you're a genius. An applause for that. Because we're going to talk about the levels of thinking. Got it.
So what the hell is this all about? This video is about levels of thinking. It is theoretical, which is fascinating, and it also has colorful jokes. I use this diagram a lot in my videos because it helps explain some of the wild things that people say and do. It's based on the work of several researchers. I'm trying to make it easier to read for a wider audience. This is my interpretation of a...
Okay, that's his interpretation. Look at this. The left-hand side is spiral dynamics. Then we have developmental levels. Let me check this out. Yeah, that's how you go. Here we go. All right, developmental levels. Estimated human population percentages. They go with the development levels. Oh, yeah, the percentages of individuals who... Okay, anyway. Yeah, this is awesome. We should all order one of these. Have a class.
A model of consciousness that I studied. It includes quadrants, levels, lines, states, and types. Today I'm talking about levels. I want to make a big, long video explaining each level in detail, but for now I'm just going to do this short version to get it out of the way and get the ball rolling. But before we get started, here are some misspelled vegetables, because I'm told that it helps if I'm cute. Here's a cactus. So these levels are stages of psychological development. They have been studied by numerous researchers. Some of the most famous models come from Jean Piaget, here's a snapshot of his work, and Abraham Maslow, who had the hierarchy of needs. Everybody is born down here, and nearly everybody gets up to at least this stage by adulthood. There are many factors that determine how you will develop and when, including your surroundings, your choices, your culture, and the brain you were born with. These are the quadrants. They are different ways of looking at reality. In this case, this would be your mind, your brain, your culture, and your society. They all happen at the same time because the mind is the brain, and culture is a lot of minds, and society is what those minds do. I should also say that people are never really in a level. You just slowly develop the ability to think at higher levels as you gain experience, but we all use the lower levels every day. When you have to use the bathroom, for example, that's a level 1 process. It's not a complex style of thought, it's just a feeling or an urge. So some people make it up to higher stages, and some people never do. Most people on Earth spend most of their time in these 4 stages, and this one is only very common in modernized places. And it's the first stage where you can adopt a world-centered level of understanding, which means understanding how people think the way they do based on where they're from. Before that level, there are right and wrong ways of thinking, so you would either be doing it right or you're not, and then they would say you're either doing it right or you're not. After that, it's more like, well, maybe I would think that way if I was from there, or maybe I would be more like you if I lived your life. That's where global thinking begins. Speaking of global thinking, this is my...
Okay, so he's about to do an ad break. Love curly hair. She said, I've seen this. It's very good. It is. It really, really is, right? So that's why I'm using this as the basis for what we're going to go into when we go into privilege, because there are so many low-level thinking people that are taking advantage and of the privileges that are given as a gift. Because let's not forget, it is a pursuit of happiness. There is no guarantee that we are going to be happy here in the States. So to abuse the system, right? And shout out to Trin. Shout out to Trin. When he recognized the wonderful ladies in his stream the other day, he recognized the women that do it right and don't milk the system needlessly. And that is exactly what we see doing. They're wrecking our systems. They're draining. People make decent money and pay high into the tax. Feel this burden. I feel this burden. I see where this money goes. So we see it in 4K half the time. And then you have TikTok exposing people who talk long enough about the benefits that they get and how they abuse the system. Where the frustration starts to build society. All of this ignorant thinking, all of these plainly stated earlier, stupid people making poor decisions. So, yes, this video is awesome, y'all.
My first sponsored video.
Read.
It's brought...
So it's an ad read for him. I'm going to let him rock out for the ad read. I owe him the respect of doing so. And again, if you haven't subscribe to Home Math. He does have some really, really good, insightful stuff. People were initially turned off by the name. His channel hasn't gotten banned or shut down yet. His reasoning is sound. Go check out your boy. All right, back at it.
Brought to you by
I'm gonna-
Atlas
I'm gonna
VPN,
let
which allows
the,
you to access
let the
all the
ad
stuff
read
you
rock
like from
out.
all over the globe. It feels
So I
illegal,
use a
but it's
VPN
not.
myself.
With
I
Atlas
use
VPN, you can just go,
VPN.
sorry, I'm totally in America right now. It's like a
When I
tiny little
travel,
embassy.
I just use,
Atlas
I
has the
turn it
best
on my
VPN deal on the
phone,
market.
and I
With
turn
the
it
Black
on my
Friday
laptop
price cut,
if
it
I
is
use
$1.70 a
reason.
month with 6 months extra
Just in
for
case.
free, which
You
also
never know where
feels
you're at if
illegal
there's
and is
like
not.
shady
Check the
people
video
trying to
description for the link.
tap into a
Atlas
battle.
VPN makes you anonymous, which is a big deal for me. I do not need people knowing whose order this is. Give me the regular price, please. Atlas also stops ads and malware.
and you can
It blocks
also
malicious
stop.
links, ads, and trackers.
You can
and
also
it
stop
notifies you
sellers
when
from
someone
giving you
tries to
crap
steal
prices.
your data. You wanna
Retailers
keep
and
your
crap.
data, right? I do. You want better deals on shopping and subscriptions? You want to cover unlimited devices? You want to hide from the Illuminati? Get the Black Friday price.
hide from the Illuminati.
A month, 6 months extra for free. 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your privacy. Other benefits. Ridiculously low price. Click the link in the video description below. Limited time offer. I hope it's also a limited time that we stay in these lower levels of thinking. Let's talk about what they are
All
and
right.
how they work and how
Let's
to
get back
move
into
on.
it, you guys.
Before I get started, I should say that higher does not always mean better. Some people watch my videos where I talk about my mistakes and they say, oh, you think you're at a high level? You sound like a jerk. But higher doesn't mean better person. It means more aware. So here's the lower level of awareness, seeing things.
Okay, so remember, folks, don't get your feelings in a bunch because you're hearing what the man's saying. The man explained it plainly there, same way as I explain every day when I do my podcast what I'm talking about. But still get haters. So look, hey,
Higher does not always
higher
mean
does not mean
better.
better.
Some people watch my videos
It
where I
just
talk
means
about my
aware. You're
mistakes and they
aware
say,
of what's
oh, you
around
think you're at a high level? You sound like a jerk. But higher doesn't mean better person. It means more aware. So here's the lower level of awareness, seeing things. And then as you go higher in the levels of awareness, it becomes much more complex. You're seeing people, seeing almost into infinity. And so when I make mistakes in here, I usually know exactly why they're happening. I usually can say things like, I choose women who probably will not stick around. Why? Because I don't think I can support them anyway. Well, why does that matter? Well, usually most of them want a higher level of support that I can provide. And why does that matter? Well, it doesn't feel good when they leave because I can't support them. Okay, well, why do those feelings matter? Can you change it some other way? Can you get a better job or something? Well, I tried to do that. I'm doing the best that I can. Is there some way that you can change the way you try to get money from the world? Well, I've already done everything I can here, and this kind of gets fuzzy. So why am I spending time with the wrong woman comes back to this experience that I've had over and over and over again, and I haven't been able to fix.
You guys see how he just explained trauma bonding? Where you're stuck in that cycle where you can't fix that one thing.
Why they're happening. I
I'm gonna
usually
rewind it
can
just a
say
little bit
things
here.
like,
I'm going to try not to do that too much, but I want to make sure that the concepts sink in here. And this is where a lot of people, that's why you remain where you're at.
I choose women who probably will not stick around. Why? Because I don't think I can support them anyway. Well, why does that matter? Well, usually most of them want a higher level of support that I can provide. And why does that matter? Well, it doesn't feel good when they leave because I can't support them. Okay, well, why do those feelings matter? Can you change it some other way? Can you get a better job or something? Well, I tried to do that. I'm doing the best that I can. Is there some way that you can change the way you try to get money from the world? Well, I've already done everything I can here, and this kind of gets fuzzy.
I dated a woman once who said, roll it till the wheels fall off. And I never understood that. But that was her inadequacy. She said, she said, we're just going to roll this till the wheels fall off. How is that? Like looking toward a future and we're just going to ride it till the wheels fall off. Inadequate. She felt those inadequacies. So she was going to hang out until I got sick of her, which ended up happening, by the way.
So why am I spending time with the wrong woman comes back to this experience that I've had over and over and over again, and I haven't been able to fix. It's the ability to see through what's going on in your mind and also to see through similar levels of complexity in what's going on in the world around you. So it's not about being good, it's about getting it. Moving up in the levels does not always make you more effective. In fact, this level is famous for making people into hippies. This is the point in development where you begin to understand that everyone has their own way of seeing things. And so who's to say what we should and should not do? This is an illustration of an interaction from each level. This girl is getting validation from a guy that she's not interested in. So she knows how to get the validation, and then she stands back and she can plan how to give less to get even more. And then she looks at that and asks, well, is that the right thing to do? Not really. But am I going to do it anyway in this circumstance because I think it would be better overall? So that's in order. Wanting something, knowing how to get it from someone, knowing how to control the interaction, knowing whether that's right or wrong according to the rules that you live by, and then becoming the author of your own sense of right and wrong. And then when you take another step back to this hippie level, it's like, well, who is anyone to judge my choices? My choices are right for me, and so there isn't really such a thing as right and wrong, it's just what works for me. That's why they call that level the individualist. Different people go through the levels differently, and when I went through this one, it really stressed me out. I felt like I couldn't get my feet on the ground. I saw so many different ways of seeing the world, so many different philosophies, so many different life choices.
For me, that was like my 20s, right? That was like 20s as a dude going into college.
Through this one, it really stressed me out. I felt like I couldn't get my feet on the ground. I saw so many different ways of seeing the world, so many different philosophies, so many different life choices, and I didn't know how to pick one. And if I can't pick one, then I can't get anywhere. So I would say, I don't know what to do. And people would say, just pick something. And I would say, how do I know what to pick? And they would go, pick something you like. And I would go, how do I know what I like? So I really like to plan things out. I like certainty. But at this level, you realize that you're never going to know what happens until you try it. So it goes what I see, what you see, what works for me, what works for us. And then, hey, look, those people have a different thing that works for them. That's level 5, when you can say, okay, I'm like this because I'm from here, and you're like that because you're from there.
Guess who can do that? Guess who does that? FDNHT squad. Absolutely. That's what we do. That's what y'all do. Guess who does that? Team C.I.P. That's what we do over here. We observe the world. We observe how people do things. That's how we talk about the discussion. That's how we have the discussions we have. That's the constructive discussions we have, you know, aside from the tee, which is everything. You know what I'm saying? That's where all of the energies come from, is that perspective and understanding that.
Try it. And then, hey, look, those people have a different thing that works for them. That's level 5, when you can say, okay, I'm like this because I'm from here, and you're like that because you're from there. And then at level 6, it's like, well, where I'm from is really just myself. Everybody is just from their self. And so how can one self have an idea that's better than any other self? Whereas at an earlier level, you might be able to say something like, well, my dad was an accountant, and so I'm an accountant. That's just what we do, and you don't have to deal with any of this uncertainty. So higher is more complex, but complex is not always good. The way I explain it is that you can have a really good shoe or a really bad car, and I think what I have is a sinking cruise ship. So if higher is not always better, then why should we grow? Well, because higher is usually better. If everyone was at these lower levels, we would not be able to have grocery stores and electricity. We have a complex world, and it requires complex thinking. And some...
So I'm just going to go back because you did cook a good point there, right? If we didn't have higher levels of thinking, we wouldn't have complex things, right? Now we can dissect that and we can try to tear it apart and we can say it's all patriarchy, system. You do what you want with that information and with those feelings. But over here, we're looking at it as in, hell yeah, I love the dudes that work the lines. Hell yeah, I love the electricians. Hell yeah, I love the first responders. What am I going to do without that? That's the basis for the future, to be honest. Medicine, technology, the way the jobs are going, the way that AI is going, the way the robots are going, why would you not want to think larger scale and think enhancement of your own skills and how things are going to develop and how things are going to impact us globally? Because it's what's happening. Some global company globally in China is going to make a robot that's going to replace you at Dunkin' Donuts. Just it is what's going to happen. So you have to think ahead. You start thinking in these terms. Not y'all, but y'all. Shout out Messy Michon again. Shout out.
Higher is not always better, then why should we grow? Well, because higher is usually better. If everyone was at these lower levels, we would not be able to have grocery stores and electricity. We have a complex world, and it requires complex thinking, and some problems cannot be solved at the level they came from. Everybody watching this is going to have a different fingerprint of development. That means that your different lines or capacities, or the ways that you use your intelligence, are all going to be developed to different levels. It's possible to be very lopsided. For example, you could have your cognitive line all the way up at 9, but your moral line all the way down at 3. You could also be higher up than another person overall, but they're still way better than you at a particular thing.
Okay, so anybody in the crowd play an action RPG video game, or a video game RPG video game, or a tabletop game like Dungeons and Dragons, or the Game of Life, any of those kinds of games where you are a character and you have a set of attributes, levels to them. Exactly, Chrissy. Levels to them. And there's levels to your character sheet. When you're born, you have a little card that's stamped on your forehead, and it says intelligence bar, and it has your strength bar, and it has your energy bar. That's what he's showing there. And he's showing the differences in the two different human beings. And that's just, it's what we have. Now, I've got a vivid imagination, and I'm someone who's always tried to like a bit more. I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, whatever you want to call me. I don't care. But I've always tried to include those little bars on my stat sheet. I know I'm not the 6-foot gladiator that's going to be knocking dudes down on the football field, but I know I can pull some moves on the track and field. I know I can pull some moves on the soccer field. I know where my skills and attributes lie. I know I have high intelligence when it comes to IT technology. I know I have lower intelligence when it comes to, I don't medical process. I don't know shit about building in medical coding, right? So we all have these little attributes that within our hobbies, within our careers, within our day to day, increase those skills to learn a little bit more, a little bit better in everything that we do daily as our practices. Yeah, y'all. I appreciate you, Cuzzo. Let's get the likes up, y'all. I know there's a lot of new people out there. There may be some cloud watchers. If you're not in the comments, I do appreciate you being here. Maybe you're learning a little bit of something tonight. Hit the like. If you're new, subscribe. Team Replay. Hit the bell right next to the subscribe button. All right, y'all. I appreciate you being here. And if you do like gaming, I have a second channel. You might have seen Nightbot popping up information on it. It's the Cat in Poncho channel. C.I.P. Culture Cat in Poncho. I got bullied by some kids, and they called me that. So that's why I'm Cat in Poncho when I go play video games. So I play video games. So if y'all want to stop by there as well, like and subscribe over there as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I needed to see this. I now have a visual fiction of actually. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times we don't have the visuals, right? And I'm always searching for more knowledge. So I'm always looking for, you're never going to find the answers to everything, but find cool stuff that helps you understand a little bit more.
For example, this could be somebody who really understands history and politics to a high degree, but has...
Ooh, mic check. Oh, all good? All good? I saw you redact it.
low empathy, and this would be someone who kind of gets it but is great with people. So as I go through them one by one, try to remember where you went through them and what that felt like and where you think you are now. Okay, level 1. I call this survive because it's just basic moment to moment, what do I need? Do I need food? Do I need sleep? It's just my own feelings, and there's no such thing as someone else's mind. If we were living in this level, we would be in small survival bands, and we would not be thinking much about each other's thoughts. We would be doing what we must in order to survive. Level 2, I called connect.
Yeah, and survive is, and I was talking to my buddy about this today. Survive is just like feed, fight, fuck, fire, You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Like, feed yourself. You have a roof over your head. You fuck. You have water. You have fire to cook food. That's it. There's a lot of people that literally, that's all they are capable of operating on. I have those people, family, see them every day, talk to them and engage with them, and they have little devices like this, just like us, right? And we would otherwise think that they're living their life responsibly, the same way as we do over here, and that they're conducting their lives in a proper manner with, with the intention of protecting those around us, right? In every action that they perform, right? Oh, they're level one thinkers. I was over on FD and NHT's podcast, right? I was over on Full Drinking's podcast, and I forget what the subject matter was, but we were talking about, like, um maybe influences or something, and I was talking about the fact that the level one thinking was rampant when I was in my 20s and early 30s, because when you're around your homies, it's just pussy, 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 pussy. Where's the next pussy? What, oh, bitch, what you doing? What you doing, bitch? Oh, yo, what your name is? What your name is? What your name is? And it's like, bro, like, that's all you can think about is level one. Just getting pussy, reproducing. That's it. That's all your mind's capable of. So let's go.
Because now you can think about what is in someone else's mind. What does this
Right. Now you're at level 2, and you don't just think pussy, 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 but the pussy might actually like me as a person, and I might build a relationship with them.
person want or need? Primitive people at this level will sometimes do rain dances or throw virgins in a volcano. I'm not sure if that's real, but it's the kind of thing you would expect to see. Because at level 2, you're realizing, okay, I have a mind and I need things, and other people have minds and they need things, so maybe it's not raining because we haven't pleased someone in the sky. Maybe the volcano is angry because it wants something, and what do I want? Virgins. So level 2 is all about what I do affects what other people think about me and what they do for me. Basically, like this. If we were living at level 2, we would be in small tribal groups, and we would be focused on safety and security and maintaining functional habits and dependable practices just day to day. Level 3 I called control. This level is still very popular in modern society. So at level 1, I have a mind with feelings and needs, and at level 2, I know that other people have minds with feelings and needs, and sometimes maybe I think a volcano does too. And at level 3, now I know that other people are aware that other people are aware that they have feelings and needs. So I know that these people have a relationship to each other the same way that I have a relationship to this, and to this, and to this, and to this. Now I know he has a relationship to her. So instead of just direct connections, this creates social situations. Here is a woman seeing man bad on her phone, and then she sees the man in her life and goes, oh, wait a minute, if man bad, then maybe that man bad. And then at level 3, you would step back and say, well, what do I do about this situation? Why is he being bad, and what can I do about this relationship? If we were living at this level, we would be living in something like the Roman Empire, mythic, feudal, and exploitative empire. You see this level a lot in things like the mafia, and in sports teams, firemen, police, military. So even though these levels 2 and 3 involve thinking about thinking, it's mostly just for the purpose of getting what you want and having power over others. Level 4 I called belong because the primary drive is to fit in. And that drive is motivated by what they call second-person perspective. So again, at level 1, you have your own feelings, urges, and needs. At level 2, you see those of others and you can react to them, but it's still all about what those feelings mean to you. And at level 3, you understand that you're in a complex social web of relationships, and you can react to those relationships and exert control over your situation. And at level 4, that's when you realize everyone is in their own situation. That's where we get the classic folk wisdom of don't judge somebody until you've walked a mile in his shoes. You are.
A lot of people are stuck there. A lot of people. Obviously we've encountered a lot of those. We think that way a lot. It's conventional thinking. Don't judge another person until you walked a mile in their shoes. Very conventional. Yeah, y'all, yeah, Killer, you didn't know, man. You didn't know the FDNHT squad, man. They cut up, man. It's a pleasure to have them here, man. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all. Shout out.
Are in this situation over here, but imagine if you were him in this situation over here. maybe you would have done what he did too. That doesn't come online until you get the second person perspective at level 4. When level 4 was brand new, it was basically medieval empires. It says mythic empires here, nation states. Basically large groups of people that lived by a set of rules that they shared. As opposed to the do what you want mentality of level 3, level 4 focuses on good versus evil. The entry to that level is called the diplomat because of the way that they focus on acceptable behavior and social norms. That's their way of getting over the problems from the previous stage. You can tell when second-person perspective is coming online in children because they start looking in the mirror more. They start to realize, oh, I have other people looking at me the way that I look at other people and I have feelings about them. They're looking at me and having feelings about me, so I better be up to their expectations. Level 4 is the beginning of what...
I don't care what people think about me. Don't we know people like that who don't look at it as an awareness, but look at it as an all about me? So they're stuck at that previous level. Campaigner.
What we traditionally refer to as morality. Here again is the woman seeing man bad on her phone, and then she feels like, well, maybe this man is bad because my phone said so. She's projecting that onto him, having a negative experience, and then deciding what to do about it. I'm going to break up with this guy. He must be bad because I felt like it was true when I saw it on my phone. And then,
Man bad. She read it on the internet.
and out here, she takes a step back and looks at herself as if she is a second person, which is why they call it second person perspective, and thinks, is that the right thing to do? This is the first point where it becomes obvious that consciousness is important, because a lot of people see things on their phones or on TV, and it gives them a feeling, and then they see that feeling coming from others, and then they do something about that relationship. So they might begin treating somebody poorly because they saw something on their phone that made them feel like, well, if that's happening here, it must be happening here too. And it's not until you slow down enough to get to level 4 that you can take a step back and ask yourself, is this a valuable process? The way that level 4 typically functions is through conformity and agreement. I believe this is the wrong way to behave. I believe this is the wrong way to behave. Agreeing on what's right and wrong and creating a set of rules and following them can solve some of these earlier problems.
And that's also reflects back on what is good for society, what is good for the unit that you're involved in, what is good for yourself, right? Good meaning positive. A positive action tells you forward in life and doesn't retard you. That word is scary. I used embrace it.
But also, there are an infinite number of ways to decide what is right and wrong. You can have this set of rules over here, or this set of rules over here. And that's where level 5 comes in. Level 5 introduces objective observation as a value. Basically, okay, you guys think A, B, C is right, and you guys think X, Y, Z is right. Well, let's figure out which one is better. And in order to do that, you have to take another step back into a third-person perspective. So again, the first 3 levels are all about me. And then level 4 is, if I was another person in my culture, how would I view my behavior? And then level 5 is another step back. If I was an alien or a stranger, how would I view my culture? This also enables you to view other cultures and sets of social norms. That's why it's global. It's the first time that you can go, oh, I get why they're like that, because they're from somewhere else. Level 5 has only really been around for a few hundred years, and it is basically where we get science and the assembly line and other forms of modern conveniences. Level 6 is where things get really fun. You might remember how it went for me. Level 5 is into objective observation, but level 6 recognizes the role of the perceiver. A different perceiver is going to equal a different perception. That brings in the fourth person perspective. So down at 1, you have me and my needs, the way I relate to others, and the way I get my way in my social situation. And then you take a step back. What does my behavior look to others around me? And what rules do we make about that? And then another step back. What would our set of rules look like to a different group of people? And then level 6, you step back again, and well, the way that you are looking is going to determine what it looks like. So when you look here, you'll see one thing, and when you look here, you'll see another thing, and when you look here, you'll see a third thing because of who you are and where you came from. So there isn't really any way to objectively observe. Not being able to objectively observe can feel weird. Level 6 is very new. There were a few philosophers talking at that level in the 1800s, but it didn't really show up in mainstream society until 1960s America. So because the way that you're looking determines what you're going to see, that means there are multiple perspectives that are valid because we all have a unique personal subjective reality that's not.
And that goes back to the 80-20 principle in understanding how your actions, or excuse me, pause. Not the 80-20 principle. That goes back to phronesis, right? And your action, your practical action, and finding the right answer. Knowing these things are what add to all of that and add to your personality. Shout out Pooh Man, bro. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you, man. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the like. Cloud Watchers, if you're out there, hit the like. I really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. You've heard it a million times. It gets me out there. I'd like to share this with more people.
Not observable to others. Basically, how do I know that the red that I see is the same as the red that you see? Maybe my red is your green. From the fourth person perspective, there's no way to know. Level 6 is a really good example of why higher development is not always necessarily better. It is a very high degree of moral development, recognizing the validity of everyone's perspective, but let's say, for example, that there's a problem going on down here. Let's say that this guy did something that is considered morally wrong in this culture.
Right.
But wait a minute, he says, that's how we do it where I'm from. So when level 6 goes crazy, they start saying things like, we can't make this guy follow these rules just because he's here. He has these rules where he's from.
That's a little bit crazy, and he's absolutely right, because if you think about it, like somebody from my father's country coming to America thinking that they could act a certain way because that's the way they act over there are very few, not so much that country, but anyway, other countries, whatever, and they have more whatever different customs. They come to America thinking they can act a certain way. We've seen it. The musty tether behavior, not the good ones like us.
And who are you to judge which set of rules is better?
Yeah, how can you judge me? I do this over in my country. You know, Americans go overseas and behave badly. Johnny Somali, anybody? You go back and watch my Johnny Somali episode.
Recognize everybody's unique perspective. And that can and often does give people the idea, I guess I can just do whatever I want because who are you to judge? That's why we have problems like this. And yeah.
Hey, Josh. What's up, Josh? Shout out, man. Glad to see you, bro. It's been a while. Everybody, say what's up to Josh. Josh is one of the cousins.
Some of these people are unfortunate, and that's sad. But some of them are just doing whatever they want, and we now have laws that don't distinguish between them because who are you to judge? So at this point, there is this white break in the chart, and that's because we are moving up to second-tier consciousness.
Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit more sticky. This is where it gets more philosophical. You might find traits of who you are in this part. You know, those of us that are here, because we're the smart ones, right? So you'll probably find like little traits of who you are in this part of the scale, but it's more like we have these moments in life where we hit these high points and we kind of like hover at a lower level, maybe for like a level 6 or a level 5, and kind of like mentally kind of like rock it out right there forever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we are. And we might hit like up into like a little 6 or 7 or something. Then because of the situational predicament we're in, thought process that we have to apply, so it gets a little more crazy. Oh, just warning you ahead of time.
And what that means is that level 7 is the first level that can understand and include all the previous ones. At level 6, they still insist that they're correct and no one else is. For example, at level 4, you might have a Christian church and a Muslim mosque next door arguing over who has the true faith. But at level 6, we can all get along, we just need more understanding, when that's not what either of those groups wants. So even if level 6 says that they're about equality, they're saying we all need to be equal even if we don't want to. And it's not until level 7 that we understand how to actually give each previous level what it wants to have so that they can live in harmony. At level 7, this fourth-person perspective gets expanded through time, which creates awareness of the self as a history of your own experience. At level 6, everyone has their own view, and so who's to say who's right and who's wrong? But at level 7, you take yet another step back and you realize that that unique view didn't come from nowhere, it developed over time, and everybody else is developing over time. So at level 6, because we are all the same,
But we also have to remember that some people don't develop over time, right? There are those individuals that are going to be stagnant in time, and I'm using this example in the future, but there will always and forever individuals are rock breakers, just like there are people who will always and forever will always and forever be rock breakers. Our life, we've just given these rock breakers cell phones and car keys. That's it. Let's move on.
Everybody belongs wherever, but at level 7, since we know we all change over time, people belong where they fit the best. So, for example, does this behavior fit here? If not, then it has to go where it belongs. And if it does, then we can all learn something new from it. That's why I called it harmonize, because it's no longer about radical inclusiveness. It's about recognizing
radical inclusiveness. DEI, anyone? They've taken, again, and like a lot of you are new here, but I've examined DEI because I've been on a DEI commission before, and I've watched the hydra that it's become. And DEI went from being women and people of color, minorities, being disgusting. So yeah, that's where that whole everyone's in crap to look at this a little bit better.
Fit here. If not, then it has to go where it belongs. And if it does, then we can all learn something new from it. That's why I called it harmonize, because it's no longer about radical inclusiveness. It's about recognizing interrelated systems and how they are either synergistic or clashing. Radical relativism and radical inclusiveness, they sound nice, but they do create a lot of clashing. People who are at level 7 tend to naturally recognize development without studying this chart or any of the stuff it came from, and it's pretty fun to see. I asked one of my life coaching clients a question, and he said, well, a little while ago, I would have answered it like this. And before then, I would have even answered it like that. And maybe a few years ago, I would have answered it like this. But now... And so he told me all about his development through the levels as his answer to the question. As far as I know, there is not yet any large collection of people at level 7. You can find a lot of these people in San Francisco, and you can find a lot of these people in New York, and you can find a lot of these people in Alabama, and so on. So let me know if you think that you're up at this level. I'm trying to build a time army.
So here's the thing. I'm not going to say I'm part of his time army, but I think I can be an occasional, maybe like an adversary in the time army missions, because I think that there's a lot of times that I find myself, and again, as I explained before, you kind of find yourself hit these valleys, the way that you think about things and thought processes. We try to be what we should. I know you guys do here, right? We should try to always look at things on a different scale, a bigger scale, right? Make those decisions that are for the betterment of everyone around us. So sometimes I think I find myself in that time army space. I find myself looking at things from that 7th perspective. It's not like he said, it's not like I'm better than somebody. It's not like, yeah, I got all the thoughts of the world on my shoulders. But it's like, you hit those moments and you kind of ride on the next level of intelligence plane that you reside on.
So we can all get together and work on all this from up here. And I'm not really sure if these numbers are accurate. I get more confident the lower it goes, but I know I enjoy meeting them because their ability to naturally balance and synergize things and put everything where it belongs means that they're going to be instrumental in solving a lot of the problems caused by the previous levels. The levels get more difficult to explain the higher they go. You may have noticed there's a lot of words here. And level 8 is pretty rare. I don't meet a lot of people who are stably at it, and even when I do, I don't think they spend a lot of their time there. So level 8 appears when you take another step back from this, and we are now witnessing ourselves change over time in the moment. as you behave, as you think and feel.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there. He says we are witnessing ourselves change in the moment. I tend to attribute that where I went from like my 20s to my 30s and I saw myself here about my appearance, my job, work on time, staying engaged, dedicated to a woman, having eyes only for her, like witnessing myself look at life more seriously. Now, I don't know if that's the same parallel to what he's talking about, but I felt that when I watched this before, it's maybe the third or fourth time I watched, bro. So when I watched this before, I tend to think that that was what I was seeing because it was almost like you're outside yourself and you're seeing yourself go through the better motions in just going through these things and being better and growing into different positions in life. So I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing. I tried to figure out if it was maybe one of the lower levels. I don't think so. I think that sometimes we peak and we valley in and out of these levels, but it should be our providence to definitely look at things from those higher levels. Like I said before, I probably resided like a level 6.
New parts of you emerge from the ether. That's what it means to be
Wait, let me
too
back that up just a little
even
bit.
when I do, I don't think they spend a lot of their time there. So level 8 appears when you take another step back from this, and we are now witnessing ourselves change over time in the moment. As you behave, as you think and feel, new parts of you emerge from the ether. That's what it means to be construct aware. It means that you're watching your own mind construct itself as you go. So at level 8, you can see all these different parts of yourself kind of coming out to play. For example, you could look at an image of a donut or a donut sitting on a plate, and you can go, I'm feeling many things right now. I'm feeling hunger for the donut because it's good, but I'm also feeling a sense of guilt from one time that I ate a whole box of donuts that were not meant for me, and then somebody gave me social punishment and shame for that, and I also got a stomachache because I ate too many. I'm recalling that memory as I look at this, and it's influencing what I want to do. So
You guys have done that. No one's done.
now that I'm aware of all that going on in me, do I want to listen to it or not? Do I want to be the kind of person who just has a donut anyway because I'm an adult and I can do what I want? And it might sound silly when you're talking about donuts, but imagine that this is something like global politics.
Imagine it's something like a child. We're giving birth to a.
Or even an interpersonal relationship. Like, yeah, I saw this on my phone and it gave me a feeling, and I'm aware of where that feeling is in myself, and I'm aware that I'm projecting it onto this person, and I'm aware of my impulse for what I should do about it, and I'm aware of what my culture says I should do about it, and then all of that is wrapped up in objective observation and the story of who I am and how I got here over time and how I'm viewing the event because of my personal history. Do you see how that gives you a lot more power to change your behavior in situations like this?
That people, how it gives you more power when you think a little bit higher than just fire, water, fuck. Sis, how are you doing? My sister in silver foxness. Well, foxes are gentlemen. My silver sis. How are you, 12? Glad to see you tonight. Firewater hunch. Firewater hunch. It.
For what I should do about it, and I'm aware of what my culture says I should do about it, and then all of that is wrapped up in objective observation and the story of who I am and how I got here over time and how I'm viewing the event because of my personal history. Do you see how that gives you a lot more power to change your behavior in situations like this? Imagine if more people could see something and then see their own reaction to it instead of just reacting, and then know where that reaction comes from in terms of their history and their culture. Think how much more power that would give us not to just react in the moment.
How's that? My mic was low. Is that better? Mic check. Mic check. Sometimes I'd be having problems. OBS does what OBS be wanting to do. Okay, 12, you hear me good? Texas says that sounds better. And how about now? I add that, keep that going. 1 second. Okay. We don't have that much more to go. Right, y'all? Thank you for the heads up on the microphone, by the way. I wasn't sure if it was peaking or if it was right. But if you can hear me now and else good, it's all good. Let's go.
That's why you should be thinking about thinking. Anyway, level 9 is very hard to describe. I do think that I spend some time up at this level, and the way that it feels to me is like all I'm doing ever is watching and wishing, and that's all I've ever been doing. At these first 3 levels, you are the main character, and at level 4, you understand everyone is their own main character.
Okay.
And then you understand that everyone's watching a different show, because everyone is a different show.
Right.
And that show is constantly evolving and changing over time. And at level 8, you're just watching the show happen. You're not even identified with being the show anymore. You're just watching yourself be. So when my mind is up here, it's like, okay, I'm seeing myself, seeing my history and where I came from and what I'm like and what I do, which is made of all this stuff, all the memories and habits from the lower levels. I'm watching myself, observing my emergence over time, interacting with the present moment. I know where I'm from and what that has made me like, and I know what's happening now, and I'm watching them come together, and I'm looking at myself, looking at that. And so how you do the looking is what's important at this level. It's like, what are you looking at? I think you need to be looking at this part right now. I think you need to be looking at this phone.
Tierra Monique, you have a good evening. Thank you so much for stopping by. Tonight was more philosophical. It was probably heavy on the brain. Heavy on everybody's mind. Got everybody looking at themselves in the morning like, what am I?
Function in your life.
Be safe.
Maybe you're looking from here when you should be looking from here. So it's like what I'm watching is watching itself. And again, here you would be watching.
I think he lost me with this concept. I think he lost me with this one a little bit. I've watched this like 3-4 times.
Your personal needs, and here you would be watching the reactions of others, and here you would be watching your situation that you're in, and here you would be watching what others expect from you, and here you would be watching observable reality, and here you'd be watching where you're from to know how you interpret things, and here you'd be watching what are all your habits and pieces.
He bakes that into your like level 1, level 2, the things that make you up and your opinions of the world and everything else around you. All that comes into it at the lower levels.
Of you put together, and how are they interpreting your reality. And here you'd be watching those habits and pieces coming together in the moment and sometimes being surprised by what they do. And then here I feel a responsibility for knowing where to watch those things, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's this chart and how it works, the levels part of it anyway. The rest of it I'll get into another time. And if you want to move up the levels, the best way to do that is just sit with your thoughts and think about them and figure out where they come from. Here's another example of what that looks like. So sometimes I worry that my little scribbly drawings are kind of embarrassing to show to 200,000 people. So why am I feeling...
Correction, bro. You're at 621,000 now, sir. So be anxious about your drawings. Be anxious about them.
Feeling the embarrassment? Well, I guess I'm worried that it's going to have some kind of a negative impact on me. What kind of negative impact would it have? Well, I guess maybe people would not like my channel or might say some bad things about me because I don't have more sophisticated graphic processes.
FDNHT, you taking off, bro. You have a good night, man. I appreciate you stopping through. We'll be shutting it down here shortly. I'm going to wrap it up as our friend here wraps up this last bit of his video.
Well, why would it be so bad if that happened? Well, then I might lose out on opportunities that I could otherwise have if I had better looking graphics. Well, how do you know you would lose out on those opportunities? That's a good question, because so far I've been doing pretty good with my scribbly whatever this is. So then if you don't have any evidence that you're going to lose out on opportunities because you're doing this, then what's wrong with it? Okay, I guess problem solved. I can do this for now. And that's why I called this level complete. All right, I hope you enjoyed this presentation on levels.
Okay, as a mathematician and sociologist, the man is a madman. I do hope that you enjoyed the run through of the levels of human development and thought. Because there's a lot of us that are stuck and don't realize that there is more to life, and there is more to what you can learn to develop yourself and improve who you are, and to stop being a ward of the state. Stop abusing the systems that we have available to us. I'm looking up my notes to make sure I don't have anything I missed. That's all I got, you guys. That's all I got for the prelude, right? We have to be more mindful about the decisions we make. We have to be more mindful about the practical application and judging what it is we're doing. We have to be more mindful about who it impacts and come out of those decisions with those breakthrough moments that move us forward in life in a positive manner, right? Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything from the chat here. Took off. Awesome. Little drinking took off. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I really appreciate y'all stopping by. The FDNHD crew stopped by, man. I'm honored. I really, really appreciate y'all. I really do appreciate y'all stopping by. It's been nothing but good vibes over there, so it's nice to continue the party tonight and have everyone come through. All right. What about people that cross your personal space and try to make you conform to whether they want you to, what they want you to adapt? They want you to adapt to. You know, he didn't talk about that so much, but that's part of that journey, and so that's part of influence, right? So I guess what in particular about that? How are you speaking on how it impacts you? People don't allow free thinkers to just express themselves. People question, why don't you just follow? Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. 187, I'll be your number one cheerleader. Love curly hair. Rockin' 87. Love this. I sub to all channels. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. All right. And we're just saying 12. Yeah, I get it too, 12. Thank you. I love y'all. Y'all are awesome. I really do appreciate y'all being here tonight. Cuzzo, Killer Swag, thank you so much for stopping through, man. Trying to get in touch with Twin, get Twin to come out. Bronze Bird. He's my YouTube twin. Y'all see him around. He's got his own channel, the Bronze Bird Powwow. We need to get him back on his powwow mission. He has some great panels. He has lots and lots of folks over there on his panels. Also, when I was over at Full Drinking, somebody asked me why I don't do panels. I haven't had the best luck with panels. A lot of times panels they just evolve. You don't have a set group of individuals who are contributing. You don't have a set of individuals who kind of have good vibe. Well, I mean, like, you see a lot where there's good vibes. You see a lot where there's organized confusion. But more times than not, things can go off the rails. So I found that it's better to separate myself and be very, very peculiar and particular about which channels I mess with and show my allegiance to. But there's only a few that I do. There's only a few channels that I subscribe to or have joined. as members too, because I can't be there all the time to support them. And then there's only certain people that I rock with in the YouTube space. It's all about evolution. It's all about growth. You'll find me over here on this channel talking about all kinds of things, from being a grouchy man talking about my dating experience to electronics, photography, travel. I like to just express and have fun over here on Culture Invasion. So I do hope you enjoy it. Team Replay and you Cloud watchers, please like and subscribe to the channel. I wish everybody a wonderful, wonderful holiday if I don't talk to you before then. If you celebrate, of course. Otherwise, have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Peace be with you and blessings. Your boy is out.
Nancy feels that a newspaper, any newspaper, has the obligation to deliberately deal with those things which demand public attention.
BDBGP, my brother. Just seeing you dropping in. Please, please replay. It's philosophical night.
He's drawing 0.6 amps. It goes off scale high for a few seconds, falls back down to about.
The CBS Evening News with Walter Campbell.
Well, first I jumped to 9.
It was a provoking challenge, and nowhere did the challenge provoke more
They're averaging a peak, I'd say, of about 0.1 amp.
To develop and introduce America's first all-electronic television system.
But Mr. Bishop, this sort of thing is going on all the time. And if something isn't done about it now, someone's going to...
I'm in the airlock now, and it's